This is the Grand Tetons in Wyoming, and it's just breathtaking, just breathtaking. Welcome to the Creative Obsession Podcast. My name is Carrie, and I am coming to you from just outside of Portland, Oregon. It is Wednesday, July 12th, and thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming back if you're a return viewer, and welcome if you're new. This is my little channel where I talk about most things creative and crafty, knitting, quilting, crochet. I've even got some cross stitch today. So lots of different things. It's been a while since I recorded because I was on vacation. Those of you who follow me on Instagram and here on the channel know that I went to Yellowstone. I spent 2 weeks traveling with a couple of other couples. So there were 6 of us in total, and we camped while we were there in our trailer and saw Yellowstone and did everything you could do in Yellowstone. Yellowstone, for those of you who don't know that don't live in the United States, Yellowstone is a national park. It's located mostly in the northwest corner of the state of Wyoming. It's a very huge national park. It was the first national park ever designated in the United States. It is known for the Old Faithful geyser and a lot of other geysers. National parks are protected where you can't hunt, you can't build, everything's left to be as close to nature as it had intended it. And they just kind of leave it and everything's protected. So it's absolutely gorgeous. And what struck me, I've seen a lot of beautiful things. I live in a beautiful state. I mean, the state of Oregon has got some really beautiful scenery, and what struck me and struck all of us, I think, is just the grandeur of it. It's so big. The mountains are big. The plains, you'd see these valleys, and it just goes like these mountains would just jut up, and then these beautiful plains, which are huge, and buffalo are running around and roaming around, and elk and deer, and we saw all kinds of animals. We saw a grizzly bear. The only animal we didn't see, and it was the one animal I really wanted to see, is we never saw a moose. I really wanted to see a moose, and we tried. We would go early in the morning to go look where they're supposedly being spotted. We went in the evening. We went on Moose Road into Moose Junction because that's where they're known to be, and no luck. So my search for a moose continues, but someday I'll see one. So anyway, I hopefully have put some pictures in the beginning of this podcast to show you some of the pictures of it. I took over 700 photos, and I still have to sort through them. I'm hoping to put on the end of this a little slideshow of some of the highlights, I guess. So hopefully I can get that all uploaded today. If not, then I will get this up tomorrow, and we'll go from there. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. Whether you're new or returning, I do appreciate you being here. There's lots of podcasts out there, and I appreciate that you've stopped to look at mine. I like to start with showing the quilt that I have behind me. I'm running out of quilts to show, as I have mentioned in the past, but this is a little quilt that I made very, very early on when I started making quilts. So this was made in 2004. It is a McKenna Ryan pattern. I don't have the pattern for it anymore. I've given it away because I knew I wasn't going to make it again, but I loved making this. So this is fused applique. So the pieces of fabric have fusible behind them, which you then iron on, and it sticks, and you stitch around it to hold it all down. I was very, very new to quilting. This may have only been my third quilt, maybe. And a friend of mine had given me a lot of scraps of fabric that she was sorting through and getting rid of. And so, of course, at the time, I just took anything I could get because I didn't have quilt fabric. I had so much fun sorting through that and finding the right pieces to become the different aspects of the quilt, like to find the right fabric that made those wings on those herons and the legs on the frog and what was going to be the background and the water and all that stuff. I got completely obsessed with it. I think I made it in a day, quilted it and everything because I couldn't stop working on it. I was having so much fun. I think that was the beginning of what has turned into me doing a lot of art style quilts. McKenna Ryan patterns are all done this way, where you do applique and there's scenes and stuff like that. I haven't done another one like it because there are a lot of little pieces. This one's not so bad. This one's pretty easy actually, but her patterns have a lot of little pieces. They're beautiful. I don't enjoy, then I became a long armer and started long arm quilting. I don't like to long arm quilt over fusible. It's just, I don't get good tension and it kind of messes up with my machine. I quilted this just on my regular sewing machine just by moving the quilt around because it was small enough and I didn't have a long arm at the time. I was still, like I said, very, very new. So this is like called Heron Pond or something. It's very old. I don't know if you can even get the pattern anymore, but I really loved working on it. So that's my little quilt. It hangs up downstairs and yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I have one more. I can show maybe two more or something. I don't have very many quilts left. I give a lot of my stuff away. So I think I've done pretty well showing you some quilts, but I don't know that I'm going to have too many left over after this. So let's go into the content part of the podcast. I hosted a Chemo Cap Cow from the beginning of June until yesterday. And I'm sorry that I couldn't be more active in it. When we were in Yellowstone, I had very, very limited internet or cell service because of where we were. It was very spotty. It was very slow. Even when we went into Jackson Hole, it would show that you have 4G and all the bars on your phone, and it would take me an entire day to upload a photo. So super slow, super spotty. I couldn't keep up with it and hopefully inspire people to make hats. But we did have 9 hats made in the Chemo Cap Cow, and that's 9 more than we would have had otherwise. So I appreciate everybody that participated in it. What it was is to make a hat to be donated to someone going through chemo or a center that collects hats or hospital or something like that, designated for a patient going through chemo who has lost their hair or losing their hair and they need a little hat. So I did finish my hat. I did the Ricky hat. And this is a free pattern by Sarah Young. It was put out by Happy Knits, which was a knit shop in Portland, which is no longer because it closed. But it's a slouchy hat. So I made this with bamboo pop yarn. I had this much left over of the ball, which I didn't weigh the hat, but I think I could probably make another small hat with this. So it is cotton and bamboo, which will be perfect for summer. Just a loose fitting hat, so hopefully it's not too hot. So that was my second hat that I did. We had, like I said, we had 9 hats made in the group, and so I used random number generator. And I counted the hats because there was a little discussion that was happening in the finished objects thread, and so I just counted the hats. Did 1 through 9 on random generator. It picked number 5, counted down, which was the 5th hat that was posted, and Denise won. Denise, I think you won last year. Denise made 5 hats. So she had a really good chance of winning. So congratulations, Denise. I do have your address, but if you've moved or anything, I'm not sure. So maybe send me your address just in case I don't have the current address. But anyway, congratulations. Thank you to everyone who did participate. Hopefully next year I can get a little more enthusiasm and help promote it a little better. Like I said, it ran right into vacation, and so it was really hard to keep it going. But 9 hats is better than none. So Denise won. Sorry, this is super crinkly. I should have taken it out of the package before. Okay. This really adorable bag donated by Chestnut Fibers. She's on Etsy. I will put the link to that shop, and any links to patterns or websites or anything that I talk about will be in the description box below this video on YouTube. So Denise, you won this adorable bag. It's got a little zipper on the inside. And I will send this to you. I do want to double check on your address to be sure that you haven't moved. So thank you to Chestnut Fibers for donating this. Thank you to everybody that made a hat. I really do appreciate it. This will be an annual thing. This is the 2nd year I've done this, and I plan on doing it every year. So you can make hats any time of the year, but we will have a cow for it in June. And June is my birthday month, and so that is when I figure for my birthday, if you make a hat and donate it, it would just be super good. So I showed you my Ricky hat. Another finished object that I did was I was working on the corner-to-corner crochet blanket, and I really needed to get that done because the baby shower is this weekend, next weekend maybe. So I finished it. I didn't have a lot of time, as much time to knit or crochet as I thought I would. I did do some work in the truck on the way over. It took 2 days to get there, 2 full days. So I did do some in the car as car knitting, but as we got closer to things being scenic, I just like to look out the window and see where I am. So I didn't get as much done. And then when we were there, we were busy. We just hit the ground running every morning and got back at dark and were exhausted and just pretty much crawled into bed. So I didn't do a lot of knitting and stuff, but I did finish the blanket, which I love. So here's the baby blanket. I made this with Lion Brand ice cream yarn. This is the Tutti Frutti colorway. I did a corner-to-corner crochet, which I looked up on YouTube to see how to do it. I wanted it to be a rectangle, and so what I did is I started in the corner, and it grows, and it usually will turn out to be a square. I wanted it to be a rectangle, so I looked on YouTube and saw how you can you stop increasing on one side but continue increasing on the other side, or something like that. And I did it until the skein of yarn ended, so that took 2 skeins to get to that halfway part. And then I turned and started decreasing it, figuring, okay, that's 2 skeins this way, 2 skeins that way, which is what I had. But somehow I still ended up with a lot left over, and I used 2 full skeins to go to the middle. So I don't know how that happened. I thought, because I could have gone a little bit bigger. It's still a really good size, and I'm still very happy with it. I think it's a good size to wrap a baby in. But I really enjoyed working on this. It was what I picked up to work on when I did get a chance to sit down and work on something, partly because I needed to get it done because it's for a gift, and partly because it was just an enjoyable thing for me to work on. Didn't take any thought process. I picked this up rather than even picking up my socks. So I still have to wash it just to make it smell good and make sure it's clean. I mean, it's clean, but you know, you handle it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so that's done. That will go to the recipient at the shower. Hopefully she likes it. You know, I even have enough. I wonder if I made a little baby hat. Maybe I'll make a little baby hat to go with it with that leftover yarn. I'll have to look up a pattern. That'll be a good idea. See, problem solved. Boom, just like that. Something else that I picked up, and I had thought I was going to work on it when we were camping, but I actually finished it before we even left. And it was a cross-stitch project. I posted it on Instagram about starting it, and I ended up finishing it before we even left. So let me show you that. So I had picked up this magazine. It's called Make It, and it's a Better Homes and Gardens magazine. I don't know what issue, spring, summer. So that must be a quarterly, seasonal something. But it had this little trailer cross stitch that I thought, oh, super cute. And I used to cross stitch a lot. I used to cross stitch back, for years. I don't have anything that I cross stitched because I think I cross stitched for other, I gave it all of it away. I didn't keep any of it. But I used to do it a lot. And the last time I tried to do it, I had a pattern, and I was going to make something for my sister, and it was on black cloth, and I forget whether I had fall leaves or something on it, and I struggled so much trying to see it that I just was like, I can't do this anymore. And then, then I started quilting, and, that took over my time to do that, and I just kind of put it aside. Well, then I thought, it's like, gosh, I used to do that a long time ago. I just don't even know if I could do it anymore. I don't know if my hands can do that because I have a hard time holding a tiny needle like when I do binding on a quilt. And I thought, I don't know if I can do cross stitch. But that little pattern, that little trailer pattern, spoke to me, and I thought, I'm going to try it. I've got tons of embroidery floss because I used to cross stitch all the time, and of course you have to keep everything. So I had some Aida cloth, and I made a trailer. It is super cute. So this is really little, as you can see, so it didn't take a ton of time. And then what I did with it is I cut it out, and I just sewed on some fabric to make a border, and then I quilted it a little bit just because you have to have something to hold it together. And I just threaded my sewing machine with white thread and just outlined the whole thing. So it's just got outline quilting to just make it quilted. And then I just put a little ribbon on the back to hang it, and I hang it up in my trailer. So I took it out of the trailer to show you because I thought it was really cute. One thing that I did do that it doesn't suggest in the picture or in the pattern was I outlined it. I'm going to try and find the picture for you. So what this magazine is going to put out a free pattern to do like a monthly type of thing. So I don't know if you can see here how the trailer was done. Very similar colors and stuff. But what I did different is I took one strand of navy blue, I think. Dark gray. I think I did dark gray. And I outlined everything. And that just kind of helps define the individual pieces of it. So it helps define the windows and it helps define the door and all that stuff. And I just did like a back stitch and outlined with one strand of dark gray. And I think it really made it stand out much better than that. Because that, to me, just kind of is washed out. It just really makes a difference. So, anywho, that was done, and I loved working on it. I loved working on it. It felt really good to know that I could do it again. And so now I'm on the search for my next project. So in searching, and I looked on Etsy and I've looked on Pinterest, and there's a lot of more contemporary designs out there, which is really exciting. Because back when I did it, back, in the 80s and 90s, things were very teddy bear. It was very country-like, and that's not my style. And so I did find a site, and I think it's called Stitch Fiddle, and you can design your own cross stitch. You can put in a picture, and then it'll like put it in a cross stitch pattern. So this is what I want to do next. Now this is a calendar from last year, and I loved this little fox. I don't know why. I loved that it was made up of triangles, and I had saved this thinking, oh, wouldn't that be a cool quilt? And I just hung on to it. And I thought, okay, I think I might cross stitch this. So I don't know if I would do it with all this background and stuff. I may do it, maybe dye some cloth, like if I did Aida cloth or linen or something, and dye it this blue color and then get the design in through Stitch Fiddle. So I tried it right before I left, because why not completely start a new project when you're trying to leave for a big trip. So I took a picture of it and uploaded it to the site, but it wasn't good enough. I think what I need to do is scan this, and I'm gonna try and scan it in the computer and see if that can download. Even if I just get the pattern for just the fox, then I can draw out the background, because I don't know how many colors this ends up being, and so I think it'll be really cool if I can get that to work. So stay tuned, it might work. But I'm going to be doing more cross stitch in the future, because it just felt really good. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. So let me clear some of this off. So like I had said, I didn't get very much done as far as knitting and stuff, as much as I had wanted to. I did finish the hat. I actually finished that last night at knit night. And I did finish the blanket. I finished my one sock. I think I was down to here or something. So that's my campfire colorway. It's like a first version of it, and so I'm really close to getting to the heel of the second sock, but I didn't finish them. These were going to be my June socks. I even brought yarn for my July socks, thinking I'm going to be gone when it turns into July. I didn't even finish the June socks. I just didn't have time. So not much progress on them. As I've talked about before, this is just a 3x1 rib. I did a 2x2 rib in the cuff, then moved to 3x1 in the foot. Only keep the ribbing on the top. I did Mina Phillips German short row heel with the extension pattern to make that deeper. It seems to fit okay. It was new, so I'm curious to see how it goes the second time around. So those will be done. I'm not going to get July socks done either, so I'm pretty much just giving up on the fact that I'm going to get a pair of socks done a month. I don't know how you people do it. I don't know how people do it. I'm going to show you some. Sorry, my brain just clicked on something. I don't know how you people do it that make multiple socks a month. Sorry about that. My battery just died in the middle of my sentence. But what I was saying is I don't know how people can get multiple pairs of socks done in a month, and I can't even get one pair of socks done in a month. But kudos to you. One of those people that gets multiple socks done a month is Christy. And I've talked about Christy before. She has the Relatively Crafty podcast, and I completely enjoy watching her. And she cranks out socks like, I don't know how you do it, Christy. But she surprised me, and for my birthday, she made me a pair of socks. I mean, like, how cool is that? I wore these when we were camping. These are so perfect. Love the colorway. I don't remember what yarn she talked about it on her podcast. I didn't know she was making them for me, or that she was planning on sending them to me. But she, look at it, even matches my shirt. So I thanked her on Instagram. Thank you so much, Christy. I love them. I absolutely love them. And she did a great job, and they're nice and colorful, and I love them. Thank you, Christy. But she cranks socks out like there's no tomorrow. I can't even get one pair of socks done. I have too many irons in the fire, as they say. I don't know who's they, but somebody said it. So that's all of the projects. I am wanting to, sorry, hopefully that's not too loud, wanting to show you what I picked up in Yellowstone. Something that, there's a dyer, Destination Yarns, and gosh, where is she out of? I don't know, it doesn't matter because you can order from her. I'll put the link to her shop down below, but she dyed yarn to match based on the colors of the Grand Prismatic Spring in Yellowstone. And it was only going to be available at a shop in West Yellowstone, which is a town that's actually in Montana. And it's only going to be available there. She dyed it for that shop, and I thought, I have to get some. I have to get some. I knew we were going to go to West Yellowstone at one point. Was that on a... It's like on the... I can't remember if that's the day that we saw Old Faithful and did all that. I think it was. So it's kind of in that area. And so we drove over there and found the shop, and it's mostly a little quilt shop, and it has a little corner in the back that carries yarn. And I snagged me some of her yarn. So I'm going to show a picture of the spring. I did see the spring, but by the time we got there, it was getting to be kind of late in the day, and so the light wasn't hitting quite right. And in order to really see it the way you see it in the picture, you've got to go up. There's a trail. We could tell there was a trail across the way up on the hill. I don't know how you get there. By that point, it was late in the day, and nobody else was really wanting to do it, and so we didn't go up there. But I have a picture, and I have the yarn. And this is like exactly the colors of the spring, which is really exciting. So I got this. It's called Grand Prismatic Spring, and I got the 50% superwash merino, 50% silk. So really nice and soft. It's got a little bit of a sheen to it. 438 yards on it. So while we were there, my friend Susan, she goes, well, will you make me something if I get some yarn? And so she picked up a skein, and she just got the 80-20 superwash nylon blend, 400 yards. And so I'm going to make her some sort of a scarf or cowl or infinity scarf or something like that for it, because she doesn't knit. So I've got two of them, but one's going to be for me and one will be for her. And then when we were in Jackson Hole, there's another knit shop in there, and I'm like, I gotta go visit that because that's what you do, right? And so oh, sorry, my chair's, I'm just like a mess here. My chair's rubbing on the back of the counter. Went into a shop called Knit on the Pearl or something like that. I'll link it down below. And so they didn't have anybody that was, any dyers that were local to them, but she says, we consider Idaho, Montana, Wyoming local because it seems like a really big area, but population-wise, it's not very big. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. And it's just the fact that I bought it at a shop on the trip is good. So I just picked up this really almost black gray to go with that because I thought that would just make a really rich looking something. I don't know what. So this is an MCN base, merino cashmere nylon, and it has yardage, 400 yards. Oh no, it's merino cashmere silk, not nylon. So it needs to be some sort of something around here because they're both really soft and they both have silk in them. But I thought that that would go. It was really hard to figure out what color to go with this because this has so many colors in it and it already has the complementary colors in it. So you couldn't really add a complementary color. I could add maybe a turquoise, but it just, I don't know. This to me just seemed like that went. Of course, I didn't have this with me when I went into the shop and got this, but I had a picture of it on my phone. So I was able to, yeah. And this will go with anything anyway. But this was like my, this was my souvenir. There's somebody's hair on it. It's not mine. This was like my souvenir from my trip. So, if you have any suggestions on what I could make, I thought I could do the Good Vibes shawl. That's the shawl that Leslie made me and I showed on the last episode with the purple pink kind of color and gray. I like that shawl. I like the size and the style of it. So I thought I could make that with this. I also thought the bendy arrow. I might do the bendy arrow because I really want to do that pattern. I just don't know if that's contrasting enough. Maybe. Yeah, I think I might do the bendy arrow. Anyway, that was my souvenir shopping from Yellowstone, Wyoming. Awesome, awesome. Something else that came in the mail right before I left was I had joined the mini skein swap on the Naughty Knitwits through their Ravelry group. And I signed up for the DQC, so I got 10 skeins. I think there's 10 skeins in here of minis from the DQC. They're so cute because they're little. Let me show you. So they're all very similar in the way they're dyed. I guess that's not going to show them very well, but they're different colors. So they're speckled with gray and black, and then just the different colors. So got my DQC mini skeins. So when I was doing the corner to corner crochet blanket, and I was just enjoying the process and how it built and all that stuff, I thought, you know, I kind of wish that I had started my fingering weight blanket that I started a while ago, and I was doing rows, kind of wavy rows. I don't even know where it is right now because it's like that was not on my list. Oh, it's right here. Hang on a second. I started this. I'm still connected to something. And I do like the way it's coming out. I just know that I've goofed it up a lot of times because I don't know, I get off track with it. But then it was so fun to do that corner to corner. I thought I kind of wish I would have done that. Now that I pull this out, I don't know, maybe I'll continue working on it. So these minis are going to be part of a blanket. I don't think I'll start a new one. I don't know. I had started that blanket doing one like wavy line per color, and I was just having too many ends to weave in, and so I think I'm going to still throw a black line in there, but just go until the skein runs out, or even if it's 2 or 3 rows, I don't know. Just to keep going on it and not have to stop and start over so many times. So, yeah, so I got my mini skeins. That was cool. Another thing that came, I'm super excited. Darlene from Bags from Awesome Granny and I did an exchange. I sent her some yarn and she made a bag for me. When she was here visiting and we got to meet her, she had this fabric on a bag, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to have the hippos. I mean, look at the cute little hippo butts. Super cute. And then she said, well, what color zipper, what color lining? And I'm like, really, you can't go wrong. I love color. Do whatever. So she gave me this gorgeous purple and then this colorful inside and an Ocean's pouch that matches. So, I love it. I absolutely love it. So what I've got in here is all the skeins of yarn that I'm going to use to make the So Faded sweater. Now I know I started the sweater out of the cotton and bamboo yarn, the bamboo pop, and I've only gotten to like, I've just kind of gotten the yoke. I think I'm getting close to maybe separating for the sleeves. I don't even know. But I really, really want to start with this yarn. I think the fact that that's working with just a solid color, it's kind of boring, which I don't know, do sweaters just get boring? Is it just because my brain's got ADD and I have to just have a lot of things going on? But I really want to start my So Faded sweater, so I don't think I'm going to finish the bamboo pop sweater right now. I'm going to put it on hold. And because if I can get this going and get it done, then I'd have it for when the weather starts to cool off in the fall. So it's a perfect bag for that, and I love it. And thank you, Darlene. Speaking of Darlene, Darlene and her friend Carrie have started a podcast, and it's called Knitter's Gotta Knit. And I really want you to check it out. I think it's going to be great. They've just got the 1 episode up. So it's really kind of cool to see somebody new doing a podcast like that. So check out Knitter's Gotta Knit, and see what they got going on. I'm really behind on watching podcasts. Being gone for 2 weeks, it's amazing how behind you can get. And so I'm trying to catch up. The last couple of days I've been doing some sewing and some dyeing, and so I've had podcasts running. The first one I always watch is the Naughty Nitwits. They're my first go-to, but I've got several episodes of other people's podcasts that I haven't been able to watch just because I've been gone and haven't had internet. So I think that concludes the podcast part. Yes, I think I talked about it all. Well, that wasn't so bad. I wasn't sure how it was going to be coming back after being gone for a month. I think I did okay. So I do have a couple of new things I'm going to show that are part of my shop, and then after that, there will be some pictures of my trip in case you're interested. So thank you so much for stopping by. I will record again in a couple of weeks. We are going to go camping again next week. We're going to go, we're going to tent camp and take our kayaks, and we're going to go camp on a lake and kayak and stuff. So, I will hopefully have some fun pictures of that to show next time. So if you're not interested in what's in the shop, if you're not interested in carrying on, thank you so much for joining. But I'm going to show some new things that I have in the shop. So, let me grab these. I had started to get some stuff done before I left, and then I had to leave. So I had shown, this big bag that I got a couple of these. I made a couple more smaller sock size bags. So here you can see the size of the bag. So this will, they're what do we want to say? Wide enough to have a couple of balls of yarn, but not super deep. So plenty of room though, plenty of room for a small project. So I have a few of these. These are going to go in the shop. I'm going to get them photographed today. Then I did some new colorways. I really wanted to do a colorway based on driftwood. And so this is driftwood. And I've got this on a couple of different bases. I've got some with gold stellina and I've got some on cashmere. And then I thought, well, this has to have something to go with it. So I did a charcoal. I'm not sure what I'm calling this yet. It's a charcoal gray. And then I did this color, which I'm calling Toasted. So you could put those three together. Just do those two together, those two together, those two together. So this has a little bit of black on it. Some of them have they got a little more toasted than the others. So those three new colors are going to go in the shop, and the bags will go in the shop. So that's all I have for our shop update right now, because I've been gone. So hopefully I can get back to it pretty quickly. I've got kind of a full week this week and the rest of this week, and then I'm gone next week. So, you know, I get it done when I can get it done. I can't stress over it or it won't be fun anymore. So to keep myself from burning out, I am just doing the best I can. Look at how well this goes with this bag. Oh my gosh. That's kind of cool. I didn't realize that. Didn't make it for that reason. Oh, and these bags have a vinyl bottom. That was what's different. Okay, so that's done. So, on to Yellowstone. I'm going to chatter a little bit about it because it was just so cool. So, if you don't care, see ya. Thank you so much. But, we had really good weather for most of the trip. There were thunderstorms almost every day, which I love thunderstorms. And it's just really cool. Took 2 days to get there. The third day when we were there for the whole day, trying to decide what to do, we all decided let's do some sort of a hike. We've been sitting in the car for 2 days. We need to do a hike. So there's a lake there called Jenny Lake. We looked it up. It's 7 miles. You can walk around it, see some waterfalls. It's going to be really cool. I'm like, okay, great. Let's just do that. And we'll just take the day to do it. So we go there and we start doing it. Well, it's hard because you're in high altitude, so there's no oxygen. So we were kind of struggling with that a little bit, and it was really warm that day. It was really, really warm. And so it took us a little longer than we had thought, and then it just seemed like it was going on forever. Like, now we're halfway. We feel like we've been hiking all day. It ended up, even though the maps and everything say 7 miles, everybody's GPSs and Fitbits and stuff said it was 9. So that extra couple miles did make a difference. but we did it. And then everybody was pretty sore after that. Just to have to go from sitting and doing nothing to hiking 9 miles around a high altitude lake was probably dumb. But that was really the only hiking we did. Nobody was really wanting to hike more. And because of the bear activity in the area, Jim and I didn't feel comfortable just the two of us going. They highly recommend 3 or more just because you're noisier and you're a bigger group. And so we're like, I just don't feel like I want to go out there with just the two of us. We're just too quiet. And so we did take a little 3-mile hike that was near the campground. But other than that, we didn't hike much. And most of our days were spent driving. So we drove everywhere and drove to where valleys are known to have a lot of animal activity. And you just sit there with your binoculars. We all had a pair of binoculars and just looked. And mostly we saw elk and buffalo, which I appreciate elk and deer and stuff, but we have those here. We see those here all the time. So it wasn't special. Seeing buffalo is, but once you've seen a buffalo, you've seen a buffalo and they're kind of all over the place. Really wanted to see a moose, which we didn't see. We did see a fox. So when we were looking out of some valley and we're looking way out, and it's like right down there on the hill, not very far from us, was a fox. And by the time I saw it, figured out what it was, and got my phone ready to take a picture, it curled up under a bush and you couldn't see it anymore. So I didn't get any pictures of that. I saw grizzly bear. Saw grizzly bear with cubs. People are really stupid and don't follow the rules, which say don't get out of your car. And here's a mama grizzly with little cubs, like they were little. And we were out looking for moose and saw the grizzly instead. And people are out of their cars taking pictures with a flash, which is dumb. Well, a flash is going to irritate the grizzly, and the grizzly would be on that person faster than they could figure out where they parked their car. And it's like, you can't fix stupid. But anyway, it gave us entertainment to see just how stupid people are. But we saw grizzly. You're driving on this 2-lane road, which is all it is this little road that goes around through Yellowstone. And you come up to people just stopped or parked along the side of the road. And there's an animal somewhere. A lot of times it's just a buffalo, which I get that if it's your first day and you hadn't seen a buffalo before, it's pretty cool. So you have to kind of weasel your way past the crazy. Still people getting out of their cars to take a closer picture or a selfie with the buffalo. I'm like, that buffalo can kill you. I don't think people get that even though they seem like they're not paying attention to you, they're dangerous and whatever. It was weird to see all the geysers and the hot bubbling pools and stuff, especially when we'd leave in the morning because it's cooler. So you would just see steam coming up randomly everywhere because you're in an active volcano. I mean, you are in the middle of it is active because it's still steaming and bubbling and all that. And it's been doing it for a million years. Not quite. I think the last time it erupted was 640,000 years ago. So it could be due to explode again. So you have to just kind of forget that that's happening because you wouldn't go. But it's really cool. Watched Old Faithful. Not as impressive as I thought it would be. It didn't go, at different times it'll shoot up higher just based on the amount of pressure that builds up. And so when we stood there and watched it, it didn't seem to go up as high. But when that was done, we walked around. There's boardwalks, wooden boardwalks that take you around because you can't walk on the area because it is a thin crust of ground that has some boiling water underneath it, and so you can't walk on it. You follow these little boardwalks, which is really cool because then it takes you all around. So we were in the Old Faithful area for quite a while and then went into the lodge, which was just amazing. It was like a tree house. It was so cool. It was just really a unique place. And so while we were in there, it blew again because it blows like every hour and a half. And it actually blew quite a bit higher when we watched it from there, but I didn't record it. So saw that and just was on the search to see everything we could see while we were there. I don't know that I'll go back because I've seen it. and it doesn't change. So it's going to look the same, assuming it doesn't blow up. It's going to look the same in 20 years or 30 years. And there's a lot of other places that I haven't seen yet that I need to see. But I would highly recommend seeing it. Going and seeing as much of Yellowstone as you can, because it is really special and really unique. So had a fabulous time. It feels good to be home. I'm ready to go out again because I love to do that kind of stuff. So, so yeah, so that was it. So I will put in some more pictures here on the end. Hopefully you enjoy seeing a little bit of my trip. And I will record again in a couple weeks. So thank you so much for sticking with me to the end here. And I will see you in a couple weeks. Bye. Boy, this smells so bad.